hear me loud and clear? And I hope my screen is visible so I can fire on.
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much, sir.
Yeah.
Okay, so today my intention is to take us through setting up sample databases for Power BI practice. So a lot of times when we do all this demo, we're always using Excel files. You know, when we do all these presentations, we're always using Excel file. But in reality, I advise people not to even use Excel files when they are doing Power BI at work. I always try to tell them to find the source, because very rarely is it that your data is coming originally from Excel. You know, most of us in our company, there are already enterprise applications set up that sits on top of a database. And if you are using Power BI correctly, you should be connecting your Power BI to those databases directly, not that you go and download the data from the database you put in Excel. And then, so unfortunately, because it's easy to share Excel files, it's easy to cook up something in Excel and use for demonstration. Most of our demonstration, most of our training puts so much emphasis on data coming from Excel, you know, as compared to how you are supposed to actually use Power BI at your workplace. So today I want to show you how you can at least set up your own sample databases for Power BI. So more like things that I had to do on my own, that I felt some of you might find valuable to also do on your own, to be able to access databases that you can use for Power BI practice, okay? And let us get started. Fortunately, it's only links I can share to us for this one. There is no practice file. So when people ask, oh, practice file, there's no practice file for this one I'm doing. You just watch and try and replicate on your own. So the most popular database, if you're an SQL person, let me give you this link. So if you're an SQL, if you're in Microsoft SQL, if that's what you like, you know, actually, if you ask me, I've been finding it easier to use than the Mysql. And the reason is, well, you know, Mysql is free. So they didn't make the analysis, they didn't make the Mysql Workbench and some other tools that I use with Microsoft's SQL Server. They didn't make Mysql Workbench to have some of them, and I think deliberately anyway, because it's free now. So there is no incentive for them to work as hard on it as Microsoft was working and has been working hard on their SQL Server, Ssms and other tools that maybe because I have them without paying anyway. I'm looking for my Teams so I can paste this link there. This is it. So I want to give us the links of everywhere I go, I'm going to paste the link. So for AdventureWorks, okay, this is where you go to get the data we're going to use. I have done this. So what do I do now? Maybe I'll just do it again anyway. Then I will delete it. Okay, so I already have for the full one. So what I'm going to do is, how do you set up AdventureWorks as a sample database for use in your own work in Power BI? So you go to this website that I've put in the chat box, right? It will take you here. I'm going to download this light version. So I'm going to download this one. So it's downloading, it's almost done. It's about 8.1 megabytes. So what's the next thing? You must have you must have Microsoft SQL Server installed on your laptop, on your computer anyway, in case you are using something that is not a laptop. So if you come here, which do you want? Do you want free version, Express, or you want the full version, but still free? So if you are like me, I will go for this one. This one has all the full features. If you look at the screen, it says it's a full featured free edition. This one too is free, but is lightweight. So if you're like me, just go for this one. So that's what I did. I installed this one. I actually installed Enterprise. So let me install Sql Server. Okay. So with that, you install Sql Server. I'm not going to do that because I've installed it. Then the next step is to install Ssms. I always advise you install the Ssms. What's Ssms? Sql Server Management Studio. So when you install this one, so let me give us this link. Download Sql Server Management Studio. I don't like the way it's typing there. Come here. Then I'll grab the link, give it to us. So also install Sql Server Management Studio. Once you have these two, the Sql Server itself, if you see my screen, what I'm pasting. The first is I pasted the one of the most robust sample database for you to use. It is the database of an entire company that is a manufacturing company that has, almost all the important aspects of a company: staff, customers, products, transactions. So it's a very good database to have, even to use for pretty much anything, to learn SQL, to become conversant with using Power BI with a database. So download that one. So I've downloaded one. That's the first thing I started with here. So I downloaded the light. There are three different types: the OLTP, the data warehouse, the lightweight. With the ones you concern yourself more about will be the OLTP, which is like the transaction data prepped for the transaction anyway. The data warehouse, don't worry about that. We are not going to be needing that for our Power BI work. Then this is the lightweight version of the OLTP, as you can see here. Okay. So once you download whichever you choose between the OLTP and the lightweight, I will say install Sql Server itself. And my recommendation is to install this developer. It's free. Then install Sql Server Management Studio. So what are you going to run now? When you are done installing Sql Server and this Sql Server Management Studio, it is the Sql Server Management Studio you will run. It is like, if you are familiar with Microsoft MySQL, it's like the MySQL workbench. It's like the tool you want to use to do your management. That's why it's called Sql Server Management Studio. So I have it installed. So what do? I'm going to go and click on it. So I'm going to say Ssms, Sql Server Management. It's free. It's completely free. Everything I'm showing you today are things that you get to install for free. So when I install it, right, it will already detect my server installation that, oh, I have a Sql Server installed on this my laptop, and it will instantly be showing the name of my computer, and then it will want to connect using my normal Windows login. So yes, connect. So depending on what you are choosing when you are installing your Sql Server, right? Depending on your options you selected, you might have sample databases and you might not have. So in the most recent version, they have stopped putting the sample database as installed alongside the Sql Server. So you will find out that what you will have most of the time will be just this system database snapshot, nothing else. You won't have sample database that you can use for demo. So you will notice me, I have AdventureWorks 2019. This is AdventureWorks 2019 that I have, right? Let me show you how I did it. It was not there before. So that's one of the things I want to take us through. Once you download so you notice I downloaded this right now. Those that joined late might not notice, but I just downloaded this evening during this session, right from this website that I've given us, this particular one. Okay, so I want to show you how you are now going to restore it. So if you follow the steps here, it's also quite explanatory. You know, once you've downloaded, that's why I say it's good you have this SQL Server management studio. It makes your life easy. So all you have to do is just go to your installation here, your SQL Server Management Studio, right-click on Database, right? So once you right-click on Database, you'll see Restore Database. So once you click on Restore Database, so it will ask you to browse to the database, okay? So there's something about this, well, the database I want to restore to is a file, is on a, it's a file. So I'm going to say database device, and I want to browse to the file. You'll be like, okay, so how do I, is it not to just simply point to the file, which I have in my downloads? So you will notice a problem. I won't be able to get to my downloads. Let's try. See, nothing is showing here. Normally, when you click here, you should see your files, right? So instead of suffering unnecessarily, just copy this, go to your C drive. That's what I usually just go to your C drive. If you put it on it, let me see if I should put it. You know what? Just paste it here. Don't stress yourself too much. Yes, granted permission. You know, free space. Yes. So paste on the C drive. Makes your life easy. Then when you come back here, so let me close all of this. Go back here to the SQL Server Management Studio. So when you are here, just right click on databases, say restore database, click on device, click here. As usual, I want to add, but because I've put this on my C drive, I can click on C drive and see it. My life is now easy. I can see it. I don't have to start jumping through loops and holes. So I pick it and I say okay, right? And then that's it too. I say okay, and I say okay again. Just keep clicking on okay. So let me just show you what will happen when I do the last okay. Right now I have just this one that I've done long ago, the full version. If I'm done with this one, I have the lightweight. The lightweight has LT. So that's how you will know it's the new one I'm doing for. This one does not have LT. It's not the lightweight, it's the full version. So I'm going to go ahead with the lightweight, right? I'm just going to click on OK. And then let's see, watch it do its thing. So it's very fast. It says, yay, you have successfully restored this database. So it's very straightforward if you ask me. It's just the real work, which is one-off, is the installation of the SQL Server itself, which is one-off. I can't do it here. It will take time. I have to uninstall the one which I don't want to do because I have some things I've set up. I don't want to stress myself too much. So anybody can install it, just to follow the prompts. That's the thing. And then install Ssms, also very easy to install. So those two things are the things that you might need to do ahead. So very easy to do. Then the part that I'm showing you is just you downloading the sample database. So I've given us the link. If you check the chat box, you'll see the links. Okay, so there are other ones in case you are interested in other sample database. There's just as I have shown us for AdventureWorks, there's worldwide importers, but the truth is AdventureWorks is the best, is the most robust one to use. So that one, let's tick it as done, right? What about, I want to be able to work online, like I want to be able to connect to a cloud database, right? So how can I, go to Azure and create a sample database also on Azure so that I can be able to connect from the cloud to my database. And that's one I even prefer. You know why? That is usually the way you will be connecting with most. So allow me to say most databases, right? They will give you the connection details. The databases are on servers that are running 24/7, not on your computer that you shut down, right? So that will also help you. So let me quickly take us through how to set up this same sample database we did now. Let's create another version of it. Let's create this same sample database, but on Azure, so that we can connect to it from Azure and like that. So let's do that. So I go to Azure. I'm going to do my portal or my account or whatever. Go to portal. It will ask me to log in. So I'm going to try to log in with the. It didn't ask me to log in. That's something. It didn't ask me to. I'm going to change the account to the one that I have money or that I want to use anyway. So if you don't have money, you can always start with a free 200. See, if you look at my screen, can you see free 200 credits? Okay, let's use that. So I want to start with a $200 free credit. So I'm going to click on this start. So Azure trial starts. I hope it stops when I'm done, not that they will start trying to remove my money. So it's asking me to log in again. Yes, I'm logging in again. So let's see. Oh boy, I'm going to fill form. It's not a small something. You know what? Let me go to account I have already. This one, I'm not ready to fill form today. No. Microsoft, when you're filling their form, it's not a small something. Oh no, don't worry, don't download anything. Not filling form. Let's go back. So I want to go back. I have an account already that I can use. I'm not okay with trying to fill a form right now. So I'm going to log in with that other account. So I'm going to use this one. But as you can see, you can access a $200 free trial. So I'm going to, how should we do it now? I'm going to spin up so I'm going to go to, I want to create a database. So I want to create an SQL database. So are you looking at my screen? So I want to create an SQL database, create. So it's going to ask me which resource group. I'm going to create a new resource group and say demo. So this is strictly for demo. So which server do I want to use? I'm going to create a server. So I'm going to create a new server. I'll call the server demo 2. Okay. This is already demo your BSS. Your server can contain only demo your BSS. Okay, great. So server admin login, your BSS and password. I'm not going to tell you the password. Let me just type what I will remember. I hope nobody is logging my key press. So let me tell you something about location. The cheapest location are US location. So some people they'll be like, hey, US is far, there will be lag time, or you want to go and pick South Africa. If you go and pick South Africa, all your money is gone. You know, like your money is. So everybody knows whether on Amazon, AWS, or on Azure. I think even US East is just the cheapest. So just leave it there. All this lag stuff, what do we call it? Latency. which one is preferable? Latency of very minimal latency or your money going faster? Better leave latency and let latency be and let your money not go fast. Okay, so I'm going to go with that. Anyway, I don't know if you got it correctly. Let me just say. So this thing has a habit of trying to spin for you a very expensive server. Can you see what it's doing? Generation 5, 2V core, 32 gig storage. Yeah. I don't want that, bros. I'm going to configure my database. So when you want to configure your database, you have two major options. Provision you will be built. It's as if you're having a dedicated database that is running, whether you are using it or you are not using it, it is running all of the time. So is that what you want? For a training, for a practice, I will not say you should. I will say you shouldn't do that. But if that's what you want, just make sure you change the settings from this expensive one to, basic. If I look for basic, and make sure you choose, something a lot cheaper, right? 2 gig, blah blah. Choose something that will not chop all your money. Okay. But another thing that I will say you should do is choose this serverless. So it's it's recent, this settings, this option. So serverless allows you for auto pause. Auto pause means when you are not using the DP, it will pause. It won't charge you for compute. You'll just be getting, can you see it, auto pause. So whenever you are not, the database automatically pauses if it's inactive for how many, for how long? For 1 hour. You can customize it, but the lowest is 1 hour. So let's just leave it as the 1 hour. I will set this to minimum. So minimum vcore, minimum is, I think minimum is 1 vcore. Or what? Anyway, set it to the lowest. Minimum is 0.5 to 1 vcore. Memory is 2 gigs. So I'm setting it lowest so that for data size, I'm also going to push it to 1 gig. I'm not planning, this is a demonstration, so I'm not planning to use more than 1 gig. Do I want this to be redundant? No, I don't want it to be database zone redundant. No. So just take a look at it again. Serverless, set it to minimum, everything minimum, everything minimum. Then auto pause, make sure it's ticked by default. Data size, I'm okay with 1 gig for my demo. I am not interested in making it redundant. It means it will charge me more. So I'm going to do apply. Okay. Then we are back here. So do I want to use elastic pool? Do I want it to be, let's read it. Elastic pool provide no. Yes means more money. So locally redundant, zone redundant, geo redundant. The cheapest is this one. Locally redundant backup storage. Okay, I go with that one. So next stage is networking. Do I want it to have public access? Actually, you will want it to have a public endpoint so that you can connect to it from your, I can say from my current IP address. Okay, so let's do that. Next. Do I want to enable Azure Defender for SQL? Blah, 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 $15 per month per server. Thank you. I'm not interested. Next. Do I have, so this is where what I was saying, or all of what we want to do, this is where it all comes to play. Do I want to use existing data that either exists somewhere that I can go and pick up, or I can pick a sample database? So if you pick sample database, right, can you see AdventureWorks LT? So yes, I want a sample database, AdventureWorks LT. Boom. And then I go to tags. So I can just call this demo. And what will I call this? Webinars or something. Or training. So it's just to tag it anyway. It's not important. It's not compulsory, but it will help me to know if this thing is removing money, because I'll be able to see this tag around the invoice line. I will know, oh, I need to go and turn this thing off. So review and create. Okay. Says missing something. Says it's missing something in the basics. Oh, I forgot to enter database name. What are we going to call our database now? Let's just call it training. Okay, so training. Yeah. I know I'm going to call it training _ adventure works. Let's see. It's really long. What? Demo. That name is too long. So let's just call it demo. So next, next. All the things we have done before is just showing. Remember, we are choosing adventure works here. Next. Yeah, next. Review and create. So now everything checks out fine. So create. Okay, so let's watch it do its thing. So how then are we going to access this in Power BI? Power BI. So it is working, but let's see how you can connect to the one I already created before, right? And then we'll also see the one when maybe by the time we are done with that, we'll be able to connect also to the cloud one. So I want to import from SQL Server, and then it's asking me the server name. So what do? I go here. Go here. So the server name of my local server, you see, is this Mysql. So when you install on your local device, on your computer, it will also show your computer name as the server name. So that's what I'm doing here. So I'm saying this is my server name. So do you remember the database name? If you do, great. If you do not do, no problem. Just leave it blank. So click OK. So it will ask you for authentication password, but because I've logged in before, so it remembers my authentication. So that's why it's not asking me. And it's good, so you won't know my password anyway, my username. And you can see this is that one we created. So you can see the LT is there now, right? Adventure Works LT 2018. You know, if you want to bring in all the table, and knock yourself out. So I want to bring in all the table. And say load. Let me just ignore the transform. So let's go check if this one is done. Let me refresh. Okay, so it's still working in progress. So while that one is doing, is in progress. Okay, it's done. Let's go to resource. So I want to connect with what? I want to connect with my Sql Ssms SQL Management Studio. So I'm not seeing it in this option, so I'm not going with it. I can just come here, copy the server name, go here, and dump that server name, right? So authentication is SQL Server authentication, the password and all I created. Whoa, does anybody remember the username we used in creating this? I think somebody has chatted me. I wasn't monitoring the chat. Oh, okay. I'm coming for this, your frame. My frame, my glass frame. Okay, the things I've seen a lot. Thank you. What else is somebody? I need to jump. Okay, I see your messages. Mr. Fizz, you're following. You say it's your business. I hope that's what I use anyway. So let's try. Connect. If I don't remember too, there's a 50. What's the money now? Is it 50 billion naira for Mr. Fizz? So exactly, yeah. So you got it. You see it as logged in, right? So that database that we all together created, see, it's now accessible. And the advantage of this is, so it's telling me for me to access this database that I need to add my IP, that my IP is not yet added to the, yeah, so click OK. It will normally launch. It didn't launch it. I can go and add it myself. So I go to, is it properties or settings? Well, let's be jumping around. I know what it looks like when I see it. It's not this one. Okay, I think it's here. Security Center. No, it's not this one. No. Doesn't look like this. It is, where am I? Let me go to the database side. Let's see. So I click here. Site server firewall. So set server firewall. So do I want to accept, deny, accept, blah, blah. I'm just going to say accept all. So I'll say accept all. I'm going to say 0.0. I don't know if any of you are familiar with computer networking. So if you want something to accept all the range of IP address, just 0.0.0, 255, 255, 255, 254. Okay, so if I had this, where is save? I need to go and click save. It will be able to accept all addresses. So save. Okay, so once I do this, I should be able to connect without problem. So let's go and connect again. So let me click on this, my database again, like before, and try to expand table, and I should not be having any problem anymore. Voila, see, no more problem. So that part you might need to do, and I can be able to say I want to see the first 1,000 records. Select. So you now have a table, a database you can use. So we're going to also show, what if you are a Mysql someone? Well, you prefer Mysql, you are not a Microsoft fanboy or fangirl. So at least I can see my customer's password. So, all right, let's go into what about, okay, let me even show you how you can connect to this from Power BI too. So the one we were doing before has finished, right? So this was the one from my local device. So this is working, great. let us connect to, what if I want to connect to a cloud one? So it's the same approach. SQL Server, but then you have to go and grab the server name. And grab the server name. So what do? I go here again. I grab the server name. I come here, I paste. I do OK. So let's do that together. I do OK. So log in with database credential. The credential is your BSS. The password is the password that I'm not telling you. Okay, so I do connect. Voila. So it will bring up the familiar navigation screen, navigator screen. Can pick everything. I can say load. So now we are ingesting from the cloud one, right? Okay. So it's loading. So you've seen how you can create a local sample database, how you can create on the cloud, on the Azure, and access it from anywhere else on both the Ssms, the SQL Server Management Studio, and access it directly also in Power BI. So what about if you're a MySQL fan? That's what you like. So what about MySQL? If it's MySQL you want to use, so what do? You install MySQL. So install MySQL. So now, don't install MySQL Workbench. Like, don't first try and go and install MySQL Workbench. Let me repeat. Don't try to search for, oh, I want to install MySQL Workbench. No. What MySQL, what Oracle has done, Oracle bought over MySQL anyway. What they have done is this bundled together. So once you go to MySQL installation guide, which I will share the link, well, once you come here and you go to the place where you're supposed to see where to download the MySQL, I want to download actually. Let me say MySQL download. So this installer, this place, let me pick it. Let me share with us. Our number has reduced. So MySQL installer. When you download the MySQL installer, right? Let me show you what happens. I think I still have the download in my SQL. I hope I've not deleted it. SQL. I think I've deleted it here. I will have shown you the installation steps. So the installation is straightforward anyway. The thing is, it will open up many things. So you can pick, let's see if, I need to take time if I say I should download it now. Let me see what will happen. Just start my download. Can't wait for this to download. This is taking 6 minutes. Okay, well, let's go on. Maybe by the time it's done downloading, I can show you. The minute has gone up. It's now 8 minutes. If I had known, I would have done this ahead. So download MySQL, right? In the installation steps, right? Pick SQL Server, MySQL Workbench, pick sample database. So when you do those ones, it will automatically, so let me show you what it will look like when you are done. Let me close this. So when you are done installing it, you will have a MySQL Workbench. that will already show that you have a MySQL server installed on your local device. Then when you log in, when you pick it, right, it will show you the sample databases that I've installed. So for example, now it has installed these sample databases for me. This is a client work. This is a sample data. So there are some sample databases that have been installed automatically because I picked those options when I was installing. So that's what I always advise people to do. Then if you want more, if you're an Oliver Twist kind of person, you want more, then you can just go and say you want to download MySQL sample database. So if you go on the links that come up, you will see examples. Let's go through them one by one. So here is one example, right? So I'm going to download this one. So I'm going to go to my download folder. I'm going to go pick it up. So where is it? MySQL database. MySQL database. So I've to extract it. MySQL database. Good. So this now, if I open this query, let's check it out. If I open it, I think this is it. Okay. So just copy the entire content and run open an empty query stuff and run it, paste and run. Alternatively, you can say you want to open a script and run, but this is going to look nicer now. So you can copy and paste it in an empty query. Let me repeat. So in case you didn't see all my steps, so let me delete everything. Don't save the good. Empty. I want to create a new SQL tab for executing queries. I do that. I paste my query, right? And what do? I run. I click on this lightning icon and it will run. And guess what? If I refresh, so let me show you what it has created. So if I refresh, I should see a database called classic model text. So let's go check. I'm going to click on refresh. Voila. So we have recreated this, table of customer and all, right? So now I have a sample data. Let me give you the link in case you also want to use that. So I can just grab you this link. Go here. So we can say sample MySQL DB. And then good. So how am I going to pick this in Power BI? So let's do that portion. So I open a new instance of Power BI. I want to show you how will I connect to a MySQL database right from Power BI. Okay, so I'm going to close this. It's not a SQL Server, it's not a Microsoft SQL Server, so I need to go to the larger menu option, like the option that shows me a lot more to pick from. So we are going to search for Mysql. I can scroll and find it, and I can type it here, and you will see. So whichever you prefer. So I'm going to do this and say connect. So for Mysql Server, it does not use your computer name as this other guy uses, as Microsoft SQL Server uses. You will notice that when I was here, where is that place? Home. Let me just close everything and open again. Are you noticing that it is called local host? Okay, so that's what it normally does. It just attaches it to a name localhost. So I'm going to call the address localhost, and I'm not going to specify the database for now. We'll pick it. Okay, I think it's compulsory. It's not optional. So classic what? I think it's classic model _ test. I think that's what we called it, right? So classic model _ test. Let's continue. Complaining about my username. Maybe I didn't get the name correctly anyway. Let's go and check. Let's go and check for myself. So if I go here, oh, there's an S there. So it's classic models _ tests. So I have to redo that. I go back here. I pick my SQL Server. Pick my SQL Server. So local hosts are classic models _ test. Good. So that should solve the problem. So you see, again, it remembered my password. I use this steady. There's a client workaround that if you the MySQL database file is like, I think 62 gig. You know, so it's that big. So the thing the Power BI recognizes me already. I'm just going to pick everything. 62 gig of data. These people sell helicopters. They sell. This is a serious company. This is a big deal. Alfa Romeo, Ford Mustang, Ferrari. Boy. Motorcycle, good. Moto Guzzi, Ali Davidson. Can't see my own motorcycle here. Mine is a Suzuki. No, yeah, I think it's the ones that are crazy expensive. Those are the ones they sell. So anyway, I click on load, right? And so that does it, right? Is there any other thing I was planning to show? So now we've done for Microsoft SQL Server. We've done local version database. We've done cloud Azure, DB. We've done, now we've just done for MySQL. Okay, MySQL. Let me see if that download is done so I can just show you what I was trying to draw your attention to. Okay, great. So if you are trying to install MySQL Server, it opens like a suite of options, like it shows you all packages you can install. Awesome. See, so you see, you can pick yourself and say, I want this one. I want this one. I want this. I want. So I think I picked everything in my own case. So that I see, and pick samples too. So that's why I say don't try to go and download them separately. You know, unlike we did for SQL Server, where we downloaded Microsoft SQL Server separately. We went to download the SQL Server Management Studio. The SQL Server Management Studio is like the equivalent of MySQL Workbench. But when you do the MySQL installer download, it comes with all of these. Then you just pick in my own case, I picked everything, and then that was it. So, any question? That was what I wanted to show us. Any questions? Then, since I have a few minutes, let me show you a Jira. So imagine that that Microsoft SQL Server one, this one, this one. So remember that the one we did on the cloud, the one I did on the cloud, what did we call it? Where is that Azure cloud store? Where is my Azure account? Yeah. What did we call the database? That's name. Maybe this is why Mr. Shin was saying about my glass. I think when I come like this, it's as if my glass is entering. I'm looking for, if you see it, I'm looking for database. Okay, see, so this is the database already. I'm looking for the name. See, the name is Demo Awesome. Okay, and it is staring me in the face, and I'm not seeing it. So this is the name we call this one, right? Which means, you know, when I did that connection, can you see that is the name? Demo. At least you see this is it, right? Good. I want to show you that you can also push a database you already have on your MySQL, no, on your Microsoft SQL Server. You can push it to Azure. So let's try to do that. If I right click on this, you will see tasks. You will see, supposed to be able to see push to Azure. Deploy database to Microsoft Azure SQL database. Yes. So if you do that, it will ask you it's too long for me to read. Just click next anyway. I don't think that will break anything. So it will ask me to connect to this, to the instance I want to connect, I want to create it on. So I want it to go to that that one that we have created. So I want it to go to this server that we pinned. So I'm adding into this server, then SQL Server authentication, then your BSS, then the password. Remember the password, then connect. Good. So I want to create on this server. Let me show you. On this server. On this server that I've created before, I want to add a new database that is existing on my local SQL Server setup, right? If you see on this server, I have currently only one database, the one that we created right here. If I've done this correctly, I will have two databases now. I will have this, and then I will have this other one that I'm trying to push, this other one. Okay, so this other one, AdventureWorks LT 2019 without the name demo. So let's do that together. So let's see. I don't think you can pick that serverless here. So this one only picks dedicated. So let's just leave it at basic 2, yeah. Yeah, so let's leave it as all of this. So I'm going to click next. So this is like a confirmation page. It's going to run this from source to this target, blah, blah, blah. So yes, go ahead. So it starts the work. So it's extracting the schema. It's extracting schema from database. Yeah, it passed to the next process. It's done. So, okay, it's almost done. So it's creating deployment plan. It has finished processing the tables. It's creating deployment plan. It's going to initialize deployment. So we need to get the launch code. Is a nuclear bomb stuff we are trying to deploy. We are going to shoot it to which country? Which country should we take it to? We are targeting US Embassy. Those guys listen to everything. No, we are not targeting US Embassy. We're targeting Moon, somewhere. Okay, so that part is also done. It's supporting package schema, is pushing the data into the database, is updating database. I hope all my money has not finished now, man. Because that thing now is tied to my credit card. All this thing is doing, there is money attached. It's still working. But any question generally? Because this is the last part I'm trying to do. I just wanted to add this as a Jara that, okay. I know this is a lot, but the key thing is you on being aware that this exists, then you can watch the video again. Mr. IT, I see you're working. Yeah, so those guys, they listen to everything. This one that we're also using VPN again in Nigeria. Before, the things that they will have to first of all log into Nigeria to hear. Now they don't need to log into Nigeria to hear it again. We ourselves have logged into their own place to give it to them for without stress. This thing is taking time. Any questions? Any questions? I hope I have not confused you. I know it's like too much that I've loaded us with, but that's what do you expect? 1 hour. Is it not better for you to say the 1 hour is short than for you to say, we are done in 20 minutes? You won't come again the next time. Now it's better I load you with too much, then you'll be like, hey, I know anytime I go for this guy's webinar, it's a data overload we are going to experience. You start having a constipation from too much Power BI ingestion. That one is better than not having enough. You can always go watch the video again and again, and more importantly, you'll be aware at least that yes, you can set up. If Michael can do it, then you can do it. Yeah, that's the kind of thing. So, well, thank you very, very much. We have come to the end. Let's just see if this guy concludes on time. Then it will be nice to show you that this thing actually is now showing on the cloud. Or any question in the meantime, or any comment, and thanks, Mr. Fizz, for the active contribution. Sincerely, I didn't remember that the username is your BSS. I just said, let me just type it because I was planning to type something else. I was planning to type training. So any comments, any contribution? Okay, maybe we'll just end it here like that. I need to go and cancel down my database before my money enter one chance. So thank you very, very much. I hope you've been able to see how you too can create your own sample database on your own devices or on the cloud, and then use it to connect to Power BI and use it for your practice. And I've shown you how you can also do the serverless, where on the cloud, they will not be removing your money just anyhow. It's only when you use it that the billing will kick in again. They will post it for you. when you are not using it when you've not used it for 1 hour. All right, so thank you very much. I can't wait for this anymore. So have a nice week ahead. Au revoir.
Hi, Michael.
Okay, bye-bye.